Hey everyone. We just did a remodeling on our pantry, and there was this giant box that was packaged. One of the packages was a giant box, so I'm playing in it. Yeah. It's a nice box. Big. When it's big enough for me to fit in it, I'm gonna fit in it. So here I am now. We're at March now. I'm scared. That's one reason I'm hiding in this box. I'm scared. I don't know what's gonna happen. Now we're already in the year 2026, and it's March. I saw a lot of movies in January and February. I reviewed some of them, but when I decided that these reviews weren't going so well and I want to go back to top tens, there were a couple of other movies I saw in theaters last month that I didn't do a separate review on. I saved them for this particular video where I'm going to be ranking them. Today I'm doing a ranking of every movie I went to go theaters and see in January and February. Be doing this all year. Next I'll do for March and April and whatnot. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and share my opinion. I haven't seen all. There are still movies that did come out that I didn't see, so it's just films I have seen. My opinion, what I thought of them. I won't gush too much because I know that's what made the reviews not work so well. And let's hurry up. It's getting hot in here. Seven was the last movie I saw last month, and it was also the worst movie I saw this year. It was the worst one in the entire franchise. Yes, this actually did start to make me wonder, why did I see it? Well, honestly, I was going back and forth on it. I remember when the first trailer came out. I remember there was a while where I was just choosing not to watch it because, like, why would I want to watch it? This franchise is running quick, isn't it? But then I realized it kind of does have a reason to. Horror franchises do seem to overstate their welcome, having too many sequels. But Scream seems like the kind that is okay to, move forward with because the way it's set up as the idea of, kind of focusing on a plot where other horror films are being targeted in this new thing, that does seem like it could work for more sequels. But this movie did prove to me that, yeah, even Scream probably would be better off not being rushed with too many of these. Yeah, Scream 7 just didn't work. Why didn't it work? Well, this movie tried to introduce this new group of Keens. They're not too unbearable. I guess I can give the movie that. They could have easily made them all talkative, modern, hip, or whatnot, but they don't went too much into that. There is some violence to it. I guess the whole Ghostface thing does sort of work. What doesn't work is the plot. Um, this movie's plot involves the conspiracy that Stu from the first movie, that Matthew Lillard character who was all wacky and whatnot. There's a theory that everyone's trying to process that he could be back and alive, and you're thinking, how? He's dead. He was killed. But they try to establish that he's videotaping them, and they are trying to figure out what's going on. How is he still here? Why is he alive? And so that's kind of a big mystery. They have to go forward. We have to learn where Ghostface is going, who he's after, and all that stupid crap. But then we get the stupidest thing ever. What probably ruined this movie for me the most was the end twist reveal, where it's just revealed to be a was it a professor? I think the movie is so stupid I can't even find what exactly he was. Apparently, he has mastered the ability of using Sora. Okay, not Sora, but whatever AI tool he says that makes him able to bring in Stu Matcher to scare them. That is like the dumbest plot convenience ever. I mean, nowadays it does unfortunately make sense that you can't do that, but no, that's still just a really stupid way to execute a plot twist. They can just do that with any horror movie now. Hey, look, I'm bringing back, I don't know, whoever died because at this point, anyone who dies come back to life now. But now they're making a twist where it's like, I used AI to make it seem like Stu Matcher's alive when he's not. Of course he's dead. No shit, he's dead. What are you, stupid? Yeah, no, that twist reveal was just a bit awful. Overall, the movie rushed itself too much. It just didn't have that spark that other Scream movies had. It had some horror elements. I guess I can't say the movie was, in general, a terrible film, But as a Scream movie, it is pretty bad. In general, I just think it was a really rushed, not well put together, kind of ridiculous film. Probably shouldn't have seen it. Now, I already did a review on Mercy. Do I really even need to say anything else? Well, I might as well just go ahead and talk about the basis of the film, why I saw it, and why it's not good. This is a movie about AI bad, because that's what every sci-fi movie nowadays is. It's a story about the justice system being completely replaced in an AI fashion, where one police chief, played by Chris Pratt, the man that every white dude will go in the theaters to see, he apparently is being accused of murdering his wife. Haven't heard that one before, have I? Anyway, yeah, he's put in a chair, prosecuted by an AI judge, and you know she tries to point out all the clues that make it seem like he did it. But he's trying to say, "No, I didn't do it. I didn't kill my wife." And it's just we kind of have to figure out did he actually do it or who's the mastermind or whatnot. It's another mystery film. It's another one that really doesn't handle its mystery right. Introduce we learn about his family. We learn that he has a daughter who he's trying to convince is innocent. But then he has these other friends who we're supposed to focus on, but they didn't really do much to really excite in any way. So by the end, when it does kind of come down to the actual twist reveal of who was the one who killed the wife, all I could say was, "Oh." It didn't really shock me, really. It just left me thinking, "Oh, okay, so he did it." Sure. That wasn't really much. I didn't really get much knownness about him. I don't really know much about the connection. This whole movie was just Chris Pratt tied to a chair in court. It stopped once the guy rammed the truck into the just into the courtroom, but yeah, it just there just wasn't enough to really make this work as a one of those twist mystery films. I feel like the idea of him being strapped to a chair and prosecuted by an AI system would work really well for a movie. But in the way this movie handled its plot, it kind of made it not work out too well. I feel like it was all just the idea of giving this movie a mystery, a plot that kind of ruined it for me. So, Crime 101. This time we have a crime story that isn't involving AI. Thank God, finally. This film focuses on a bunch of people who are, I guess, in a state of terror involving a crime organization, along with a investigation and such. It's one of those crime stories that really was all over the place. All I could gather was our focus is being on both Chris Hemsworth and Mark Ruffalo. They both have an act for violence. There's a act of robbery and gun violence that kind of needs to be discovered. Kind of just one of those films where you kind of just watch, you have to put together what happens, and then once you finish the movie, you have to try out your hardest to think, so what was the main plot again? And that was kind of a hard thing to go for. um what I remember is I think Chris Hemsworth was like is supposed to be like the bad dude in the city. He's the man, he's the thief in this scenario, like. And then kind of we and then we have Mark Ruffalo as the detective. If they kind of trying to prevent him from performing a heist, I think is what went on. Then we got Halle Berry thrown into the mix. We got all this car chases, gun action. That's just what I got out of this movie: gun action, car chases. I'm not a plot guy in when it comes to some of these films, but if I'm being honest, the film wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. I thought it was just decent. I guess it does mostly have to do with the fact that the plot wasn't easy for me to really prosecute easily. I just really knew that it was a crime story. It was kind of involving a thief and a detective sort of trying to cross sides with each other. It's kind of them trying to catch. It's like the detective's trying to get to the thief before he pulls off a terrible heist or whatever. Uh, I mean, they really executed that with a lot of other bland elements that I feel like a plot like that didn't need to be this long. Anyway, the film was just alright. The action was pretty good, and I guess I can't really be mad at it because it didn't really do too many things wrong. I just wish its plot was more consistent. I guess that's kind of just what threw me off with the film. I still liked it for its action and a bit of its dilemmas, but plot wise, it could have been handled easier. I also did review with this movie. Primate is not something that's easy for um more film enthusiasts to call a masterpiece, and I'm not calling it a masterpiece either. But I am saying I probably liked it a lot more than most other people did. This it's a very simple story. A monkey got rabies, and now he's on a killing spree. That it doesn't seem like something that I would call good. I probably would just bash it for being such a bland, uninspired plot. But this movie actually was creative and fun, I have to admit. Because we see this monkey's rabies actually take action. We literally see it rip off jaws. It literally will do that. It'll literally push people off cliffs. It will go in all smart directions to try and murder humans, and that's pretty fun to watch. I'm not gonna lie. It seems like such a stupid thing that I couldn't possibly call it good. It's just dumb. What, monkey has rabies? So what? But it takes a lot of edges, and it does make such a silly idea show off really intense and insane. Like these teens have to cover, they have to hide in a swimming pool most of the time since that's the only place they're safe from the monkey. But then of course they have a father who's deaf, so that obviously doesn't help very much. And yeah, this monkey has rabies, and apparently it's just inhabited so much evil that it's ready to kill. It's not one of those simple it's not one of those simple animals who just have rabies and will just only kill if they interfere with them. No, it'll kill any human it sees. It'll break your TV because you're watching Dora the Explorer. Yeah, I reviewed this movie a lot. I talked a lot about it, and honestly, yeah, I think this movie was really good. It's not easy to, I guess, praise in the sense that it's a simple idea, but I was impressed with how insane it was executed. All right, yeah. I also did a review on this one before. The um comedy drama film from that came out 2025 that some people saw just to be that the critics saw but audiences really weren't going for in a sake. I went for it because it was coming out and I just, it looked like it could have a good impact on me because I have always have interest in doing stand up. I've never actually done it before, but it interests me. I've watched a couple of stand up performances from TV. Like I've seen comedians like Dave Chappelle, Robin Williams, Jerry Seinfeld, all that stuff. Um, and so yeah, stand up comedian is something I have a fond interest for. So yeah, a movie involving us focusing on the traumatic life of a stand up comedian, it's gotta be good. It's nothing entirely new. We have seen that done before. But in a new take, we do get this fun new little twist on it. We're kind of learning about a father who does open mics. It's not like the focus isn't on a guy who is a super successful stand-up comedian. No, he's just a regular family dude who usually goes to does open mic nights for a living. And it kind of just tries to show the dramatic life he's gone through. Again, this is something that I would usually expect people to bash for being too bland and uninspiring. I think what makes me really like this movie a bit more than that is because of how amazing the performances are. That's probably what really gives this movie an edge. The performances in this movie are stellar. It's not the most exciting film, but it is well performed. Will Arnett's performance in this is amazing. Laura Dern has a great performance. I'm sure the plot may not be the most fun and active, but it is a plot that runs. It runs like a nice little plot goes. We do get the way the characters feel, and because of how much effort these actors put into the performances and something that really was didn't turn out to be that popular to be in the end, I think is makes the movie a big pass for me. Yeah, I want to go see this movie too. It was definitely a weird experience. I am just a sucker for AI's bad films. I don't know how. I just seem every time a movie like that comes out, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna see it. I guess this movie is all over the place. What's it about? Well, a guy with a bunch of cables attached to his body, played by Sam Rockwell, runs and bursts through it into a diner. Comes in, starts screaming, everyone being like, "The future is bad. I need people to come help me on this battle against the evil robots that are taking over or whatever." It's a man who is who trying to stop a evil tech from destroying our world and rotting our minds, and it's just like he looks like a crazy dude to all of them. But as time goes by, he starts showing more off. He starts kind of proving that he isn't crazy, and thus he eventually does get people to join him for the ride. And what we get is this case of kind of showing us that this is a world that really has taken a bad turn with technology. Um, After he recruits some people, we're given backstories from each of them, where they each sort of talk about, we each learn about sort of why exactly they were willing to join him on this crazy quest. Like there's a substitute teacher who seems to have a terrible time teaching kids because they're all attached to their phones 24/7, and then they get this weird app that turns them into literal zombies in this case or whatever. And then we learn about this other woman who loses his son in a school shooting, so he has the chance to clone him. Yeah, there's an actual cloning lab that clones his son, but it turns out the son he gets is just a mindless zombie who doesn't really work the same because he's a clone who has advanced sorry, who has clone advancement, technology advancements or whatever. So yeah, that's kind of what causes her to be like, all right, I'm gonna do this. I hate cloning. And then there's one chick who happens to actually be allergic to technology, so she tries her hardest to have a life without it, though it doesn't work out too well because whenever there's technology around her, her nose will bleed. She falls in love with another dude who also happens to not use technology. He's not allergic, he just doesn't use it. They have a good romance, but then he learns about virtual reality, gets attached to it, and she goes heartbroken. And yeah, so we learn about those stories, and then we get to our big exciting adventure, which involves stopping an evil machine that they need to unplug or whatever, need to destroy. And along the way, they have to deal with um teenage zombies on their phones and a giant cat. Yeah, that they're kind of throwing as much as there as possible. It goes all over the place by the end. What seemed like just a simple attempt at doing a social commentary on how phones and social media have just turned our economy into nothing but a crazy mess. I feel like that really is what this movie worked best with. I think its issue, I guess, does have to do with the fact that by the second half, it turns into a destroying an evil tech company film. I don't know if that part really went for me or such, but it is creative. It is fun. It is all out there. It's definitely an easy film to be awake with, and you can tell I was pretty awake watching this movie. A lot of stuff, crazy stuff happened at the end. They destroyed the machine, but uh, apparently at the end they also give us this idea that there's still work that hasn't been done. None of what they did worked. They have to try something else, I guess. And then that's where the movie ends. So yeah, pretty insane movie, but at the same time, I will applaud it for its insane premise and how fun it is and how it does work well enough, I guess, being a social commentary on any movie that tells us that technology and phones and AI is bad is a pass for me. I'll give it that. Yes, my favorite movie of the past 2 months is Send Help. I talked about this movie too. And yeah, I still agree with what I said. I think this movie was way better than it had any right to be. Good old Sam Raimi finally brings in his horror stick again after many people were taking him as the guy who directed Spider Man movies when I guess he's trying his hardest to remind us that he directed Evil Dead for crying out loud. And so he directed Send Help, a horror film about a woman and her boss who are stranded on an island. She shows him that she can do a good job surviving. She can create shelter and all that, while he's just trying to go home. But eventually, she turns crazy when he tries to leave, and she's like, I'm gonna make sure you stay. here and see how well I am at this job or whatever. She ends up starting going stir crazy, literally makes him suffer in this island as he just wants to go home, but she just wants to show her strength. So crazy that by the time help does actually come, she ends up killing them. Yeah, she kills them behind his back, and yeah, she kind of yeah. And by the end of the film, they have this big violent bash where he finds out that there was a house that was literally right next to the island that she knew about but didn't tell because she was ready to show her strength still. And the movie literally ends with her winning, being successfully killing him, going back home and being successful as the woman who survived on an island. It's a pretty crazy movie, but I love it because of how violent, insane, awesome it gets. It is not a superb masterpiece. It's definitely not the best film Sam Raimi has directed, but it is a really great one in my opinion. I personally just really had a great time with this movie. I loved its premise. I loved how insane it gets. I love how it combines a lot of different insane horror films together. It's like a mix of films like Castaway, Misery, and sort of all those, keeping man from doing whatever, I guess. I have already reviewed this movie a lot before, so I don't really know how much more I can say. I just thought this movie worked way better than it could have. I was impressed, really impressed with it.